I graduated college about a year and a half ago, and there are so many things I wish someone told me before I graduated. Between work, friendships, and finance, there are so many different things that I wish I could have learned before I graduated instead of having to figure it out for myself. But that's what this video is, and hopefully my tips can help you whether you are still in college, about to graduate, or a recent graduate. So let's get started. The first and probably most important is your job and how to find a job post-grad. Similar to how high school doesn't teach you how to change a tire, figure out a mortgage, do your taxes. You would think that's more important than y equals mx plus b, but for some reason it's not. So in college, you obviously are going to get a degree in some sort of field, but no one tells you how to search for that degree when you graduate to look for a job. There are definitely certain career paths that have a pretty straightforward trajectory of what you're gonna do. You know, if you're gonna be a dentist, you go to dental school, you get your degree, you practice, and then you apply and you become a dentist. But even with that, or even with being a doctor, there's so many different avenues that you can take that you might not even know which path you want to take until you've already graduated. There are so many different avenues. For example, I was in the communication school, but there's advertising, PR, journalism, corporate comm, and even under those four umbrellas, there's a million different things you could do within those job categories. Even if you just want to be doing news, you could be in front of the camera. Do you want to be behind the camera? Do you want to be writing copy for all the news articles? For advertising, do you want to be on the creative front of actually designing what the billboard's gonna say? Or do you want to be on the back end doing all the strategic and tactical work of what is this billboard about, who's it gonna be for, and how much is this gonna cost? So just with those things alone, there are so many different paths you could take. So with that, how do you actually find a job and know what to search for? So the first thing is obviously scroll through LinkedIn, Indeed, all those job posting sites. And yes, sometimes you can definitely find a position that you like and apply and maybe get an interview, talk to a recruiter, and then who knows, it could go from there. Something that's a little bit more specific is if you are interested in a certain company, I would highly recommend actually going on the company's website and searching if whatever job you are interested in is even available. So if you're into makeup companies, I would look up Tarte, Too Faced, Urban Decay, and see on their corporate side what positions they have available. And with LinkedIn or Indeed, certain job postings can get old. If they're more than a month or so old, odds are they probably filled the position, but they just haven't closed the application for it. So those are the couple ways I think you could search for a job, but the biggest question I had was, what kind of keywords do I even search? I'm over here Googling advertising jobs near me, but advertising is so broad. So when I was searching, I was not only searching advertising jobs near me, but I was also searching whatever niche I was interested in. So if I was interested in the makeup, fashion, beauty community, I was looking for brands within that realm because I would be much more excited to work in that category of advertising than I would be working with grills or fire pits, which was an interview I had, and I was like, what am I doing? Like, I don't care to promote grills, and even though it might be cool to run their PR, I don't really want to promote grills and outdoor fireplaces and appliances. I'd rather be doing advertisement for fashion, home decor, all that kind of stuff, just because that's a bit more fun for me. And the one thing I've always been told is do something that you love so you never work a day in your life. And obviously that can be very, very hard. But if you can't do that, at least find something that you're interested in or at least like to possibly enjoy your job a little bit more. And the third thing, probably the biggest thing, is to network. I think networking is one of the best things you can do post-grad, because when you graduate, you're gonna have the same degree as 1,000 other some people. So just because you went to one university to get one degree, everybody is an even playing field. Everyone has that degree, but what might step up somebody's career more than someone else's is because they've either networked or are willing to network with other people. So what do I mean by networking? I mean friending recruiters on LinkedIn for jobs you are interested in, and make sure to connect with a lot of people. I've always been told always have 500 connections on LinkedIn to boost your page or to get more people interested in you, I suppose. I don't really know how true that is, but I have over 500 connections on LinkedIn, and they don't have to be your close top 10 friends. It's hey, I went to the same university as you, oh, we worked here together, oh, you're a family friend here, and just start adding those people to build your network. Although it might be scary to message recruiters, that's literally their job, to get somebody in the door somewhere at a company, whether they're working in-house for a company or they are being outsourced. Odds are they're gonna wanna find you a job because they're probably getting a commission off you. So obviously they would want to help you find a job. Also, somebody that might be a little bit more scary to message is somebody that's in a current position that you are interested in. Whether it's just their title piques your interest or the actual company that they are at piques your interest. I know when I was first applying to jobs where I first worked, I messaged a bunch of people that had the title that I was about to have, that I was applying for, being like, hey, like, can you tell me your day-to-day, what's your favorite and least favorite thing about your job? Because recruiters don't always know those specific details of the company. So essentially you should go directly to the source and see, can I handle what the worst thing is? Can I enjoy what the best thing is? And is that gonna be a good fit for me? Because most employees of a company, if you're messaging them, they're probably gonna be pretty honest with you, versus a recruiter that might heighten what the excitement is, what the day-to-day tasks are. And I personally just like going directly to somebody that has the title that I'm looking at. So those would be my tips for how to actually find and search for a job post-grad. Of course, work and having a job is so important, but along with a 9-to-5 also comes having time for your personal life and having friends. And I don't think anyone is really prepared for what happens when you graduate and you're no longer living within the 5-mile radius of your best friends. In college, you either live with your best friends or you live within a block distance of them to see them if you want to grab coffee, hang out for dinner, study, or you have classes with them. And you can kind of see all of your people pretty often. And then you kind of go home for the holidays and you can see any high school or old friends when you're back home. But post-grad, people move home, people stay where they went to school, or they just go wherever their job or career might take them. And no one really tells you how alone you might actually feel post-grad. And I really do think post-grad depression is real for a lot of people, whether it's focused on finances or work, but I feel like the biggest thing is friendships and having people around. Granted, I am an only child, so I'm kind of okay with being by myself, or else I wouldn't have bought an entire freaking house to live in alone. But for other people, they're used to having interactions with people all the time and to be social. And when you move out of state for a career, I have friends that are literally moving back to where they went to school to be around people that they know and have friendships, because as great as the job might be, if you don't have that social life, if you don't have those little connections, even just to sit next to somebody and scroll on your phone for 2 hours, it's something versus being alone by yourself. And this is also the time where you will see who's gonna be in your life years down the line. I'm really grateful to say that I still have friends from kindergarten that I love with all of my heart, but we're all in different places. Some people are going to grad school in different states. Some people are staying where they went to school. And these are the times where you really focus on who you want to maintain a friendship with and who you care about and who cares about you. Obviously, if you don't live down the block from your best friends anymore, you have to think about, who are you gonna text? Who are you gonna reach out to stay connected with? FaceTime, call. Who are you really gonna plan to go visit a trip with? Because buying a plane ticket to go somewhere and maybe take days off of work, it's not the biggest deal, but it's definitely showing that you have a good friendship and you want to maintain it by visiting them and seeing them, and who you're really willing to travel for and talk to all the time. I have friends that I've traveled to go visit them wherever they're living now. I have friends that I'll FaceTime all the time, even if they're not within the same state as me. And then I have friends post-grad that are anywhere between 20 and an hour away from me. And when you're post-grad, you can't just text somebody, hey, wanna come over? It's like, no, I gotta set up an actual time frame and like schedule you in, because someone's gonna have to make the drive or flight to see somebody. So I try to do that once a month with seeing people that are within the same area as me, just to have a sense of, okay, here's my little group. Let's all go to dinner, go to a movie, go do a fun event, because you don't have that same, let's just go next door and chill out at somebody's house for the night, because a lot of people are committing to driving to you. And you wanna make sure you're actually doing something meaningful, whether you're just sitting on the couch and catching up or doing some fun activity. And then the one thing that I really think nobody in high school or college teaches you, unless you're a finance or business major, is finances. Because in college, you're not necessarily seen as a full-grown adult because you could be working part-time somewhere, you could be on co-op, but for the most part, you're still in school, you have a tuition to pay, or someone's paying that tuition, someone's paying your rent. But unless you're paying your whole tuition and your rent, which a lot of people do on their own, which is amazing, but for some, that's just not the case, and it's not until they graduate where they're completely I don't want to say cut off, but you know, you're an adult. Now you need to manage your money because you have a job. And I don't think anyone really teaches you how to actually do that. I think one of the biggest mistakes someone makes post-grad is they get their first paycheck that's like, you know, an adult paycheck. Back in college or high school, I was like, oh my God, $200 a paycheck. I worked, you know, 20 some hours. How awesome. You're kind of rolling in, making the big bucks on a salary, and you're like, oh, I haven't seen that kind of money in my bank account. So you kind of almost want to like fun spend it, but don't. So the biggest thing would be to learn how to budget. Budgeting right now is actually going viral on TikToks. You guys can go and watch TikToks on all the financial advisors because obviously I'm not a professional, but I would just say make sure you have a budget so you know what you can spend so you don't overspend. Personally, my banks give me a spend analyzer every month so I can see what's a reoccurring bill and where I'm kind of spending my money. Post-grad, you might have to pay your own rent. In my case, I have a mortgage. You have gas, electricity, water, sewer, trash bills, phone, insurance, all that kind of stuff all kind of comes together and you're like, okay, here's my phone bill, that's $40. Here's my electric bill, that's $40. Okay, that's like almost $100 right there. And they almost just kind of start to stack on one another. And the biggest fear I had was when I bought this house was how am I gonna handle all of these different bills? And my biggest advice, auto pay. Because I for sure would forget to pay my electric bill, my gas bill, if it wasn't auto pay. If I didn't have that auto pay on, I would not have car insurance because I would have forgot in October that I had car insurance due. But luckily, I was reminded and it was all okay. But the biggest thing that comes with finances is making sure you can not only just afford what you're buying, but afford the maintenance on whatever you're buying. So for me, I'm the sole owner of my car, which means my car, good to go, paid off, but I still have obviously insurance on it, and sometimes I have maintenance due. To be completely transparent, my car in December cost me a little over $1,000 for new brake pads, an oil change, tire rotation, air filter things, and no, I was not being scammed. I knew what was coming, I was fully aware of it, but that's almost a whole paycheck for me of just fixing my car. So if I couldn't afford a car, I obviously would not have one, but you have to pay for gas, you have to pay for maintenance on the car. When it comes to a house, there are a lot of things that could, knock on wood somewhere, that could go wrong with a house. And just because you might be able to afford the mortgage on a house, you better be able to afford fixing and upkeeping it. This year, I'm definitely trying to spend less than I did last year, but granted, I did buy a house, so there were some bigger ticket items that I was paying for that I normally would not pay for within 1 month. And also with finance, no one really tells you about like working your 9-to-5 job of, okay, you might make $50K a year, but really you're not making $50K after taxes, insurance, 401K, and back up. And honestly, with a 401K, I didn't even know this until I was filling out my 401K. Just for example, if I put in $100 at my company will match whatever percent I put in. Say I put in $100 and they match to that, so they put in $100. All of high school, all of my years of college, I just thought it went into an account that I just couldn't touch till I was like 65. No, I was completely wrong. It goes into some savings, but it's like actually in the stocks, and you have to invest and pick if you want high or low risk. There are a lot of things that I am still learning and have more things to share if you guys found this video interesting. And I hope you guys found some sort of helpful advice in this video. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to thumbs up and comment down below any other videos or topics you might be interested in hearing from me. And with that, make sure to subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye guys.